Up+Adam.
Tractor systems are offline.
We are Beyond FM.
Beyond FM.
The future of broadcasting is here.
Up+Adam with Adam Montiel. It's community content from Concentrate. It's Up+Adam with Adam Montiel.
Some say life is where it begins. Straight to the stars is where it ends. Yes, some say life is just where it begins. Straight to the stars is where it ends. Only to start again.
Happy Wednesday. Thank you so much for being up and Adam. Hump day, halfway through the week. And wow, this morning in San Luis Obispo, at least looks beautiful. I think we might even have a day off from the rain. Looks good outside. Yesterday, though, last night, I live in the Lowbro neighborhood, southern part of town, Lower Broad, and there was some crazy lightning. And then one of the lightnings, I was actually like recording a video for a lady I fancy who's out of town, and it like had this big blue ball, like the lightning hit something. And then like 2 seconds later, lights go out, zzz, house is black. It came on pretty quick afterwards, maybe like within 60 seconds. So that was, thank God. And then I'm looking for one of the dogs, and thank God everybody was inside. But the Harvey literally went into the guest room closet and jumped. It's a messy closet. Jumped over everything and into the back, into the corner. And I was looking under every bed. I'm like, I know he's inside. He couldn't have gotten out. Like, where is this dog? This thunder, this lightning can really, really scare dogs. So I was just happy I found him, and I see him like in the back of the closet. I felt so bad for the little dude. Man, so this weather was really, really something. It was coming down hard last night. So it looks like we might have a break today. I'm looking through the weather hour by hour, and I don't know. I see a lot of clouds. I even see some sunshine. I'm looking at sunshine right now. And then tomorrow I see 90% chance of showers. So, and then there's even rain next week. So we're certainly not done, but we might be done for a minute. Okay. Today's show, this guy, excited about this. He plays the man who loved Carolyn Bessette before the world ever called her a Kennedy. Today on Up+Adam, we're sitting down with Noah Fearnley, the Connecticut-born actor who steps into the role of Michael Bergin in Love Story on FX. It's on right now. It's immensely popular. The Ryan Murphy executive-produced series chronicling the romance of JFK Jr. and Carolyn Bessette. But this isn't just about playing a real person, which I have to imagine is tough. It's about kind of honoring a man who's watched history rewrite his own chapter. Noah talks about really the responsibility of portraying someone who's still very much alive and is, desiring to keep his name intact, the respect he developed after reading Michael's book called The Other Man, and why this role became very personal for him. And here's where it gets deeper. Noah and Michael, they share eerie parallels. Same state, same kind of like, same state, same model to actor kind of path, same New York train rides. We talk about, fate, mental health, imposter syndrome, the grind of these micro dramas. This is how Noah got famous. Have you heard of these like a drama box, these vertical dramas that you watch on your phone, but they're like full length movies, but they're just in little bite-sized things. They've become the fastest. I was reading they're the fastest growing part of the entertainment business of Hollywood are these little drama box movies that people are watching on their phone now. Isn't that wild? It's another kind of symptom of less people going to the theater, but people still wanting the acting, the story, right? The film. So he's going to join us in a couple minutes. Really interesting chat. So excited about that. Okay. So before that, need to run, not really a lo-fi headline, but need to run something by you because this is either nothing or it's the most Cuesta Ridge story of all time. A local couple, they were hiking this week. I saw this on Reddit yesterday. Reddit slow. They were deep on Cuesta Ridge. Not like the parking lot trail. Like they broke off, onto like a bike trail. like a mountain bike offshoot, lock gates on either side, I think, steep, rough access. They're out there enjoying the view, taking some pics, beautiful pics. And when they smell it first. Strong citrus. Like somebody just zested the side of a mountain. And then they see it. Hundreds and hundreds of lemons scattered down the slope, bright yellow, piled in clusters, rolling into the brush as far down the hillside as they could see. No boxes, no crates or trash bags, just a ton of lemons. Now, pause for a second. You don't accidentally drop 800 lemons. You don't just lose a Costco pallet of citrus while hiking. And this isn't really a roadside turnout. It's kind of behind where, like mountain bikes would go. So I don't know, how did these get there? That's not exactly where you'd pull up in a sedan and just dump some produce off. So how did they get there? Was it like agricultural dumping? You got to see the pic. I'm going to post it on my Instagram this morning. I'm going to post it in a story. Was it someone maybe with ranch access that had a key and was it a rejected load? I'm just so curious. You look at this picture, you're like, damn, that's a lot of lemons. Because it wasn't like 2 lemons. It was like hundreds of pounds of lemons. Many, many hundreds, maybe close to, maybe 600-700 lemons. I don't know. It's a literal citrus event. And that's the part that gets me. They said the smell was really strong, fresh, like it hadn't been there too long. They said this isn't ancient mystery lemons. This is recent lemons, which means someone made a decision. And I don't know why the more I think about it, the more questions I have about the lemons. Who knew about it? How did you get them up there? And why lemons? And I'm sitting here thinking, if this is happening on Cuesta Ridge, I want to know why. I want to know what's up, what's going on. So I reached out to the hiker. He got back to me one time, sent me another picture. I asked him some questions, wanted to see, what maybe he's willing to answer. He hasn't gotten back to me now. But I want to kind of ask about, I don't know, just have a lot of questions. And if nobody else is curious enough to dig into it, I guess we will. I want to find out about these lemons. I'm not saying this turns into a whole mini series, but if next week you start hearing me open with, it started with the smell of citrus, then you'll definitely know why. So stay with me on the lemons. I want to get to the bottom and see where this goes. All right. I want to get into my conversation with Noah. Before that, I want to talk about Paso Wine. Paso Wine Fest got just about a week left, maybe a little less. Oh no, we got 10 days left. 10 days left to get these locals tickets. Just $99 to Paso Wine Fest. Paso Wine Fest coming in hot May 15th through 17th. Got that paired Paso on the 15th. I'll be out there being a judge for that. Super stoked on that. Then the main grand tasting at the Paso Event Center, May 16th. Tickets for locals, just $99. Those ticket prices will go up to about $175. This has become like one of the biggest food and wine events in the state of California. The Paso Wine Fest. It's all grown up. It's getting all grown up. So if you want to get out there for this locals price, just $99, over 100 wineries, fired up food, live tunes, Paso showing off in only ways like Paso Wine can. You got to get these tickets at the Chamber. You could do it in both the Slow Chamber on Monterey and the Paso Chamber on Spring Street. You got to go and do it. Bring your ID too so they can know that you're a SlowCal resident. After February 28th, that price jumps, so get in now. You know the details you need, pasowine.com. Also, you can go to adamontiel.com, win your way in. Go to adamontiel.com, and you'll see right off the homepage your way to win, and good luck.
It's Up and Adam with Adam Montiel.
All right, he is one of the most recognizable faces in the rising world of microdramas. This guy's become famous at it. With over 50 films under his belt now, Noah Fearnley steps into a role that carries real history. In the new FX series Love Story, executive produced by Ryan Murphy, he is portraying Michael Bergin, the model-turned-actor who dated Carolyn Bessette before, and kind of during, her whirlwind romance with John F. Kennedy Jr. From Connecticut roots to modeling in New York to making his theatrical debut in Mercy alongside Chris Pratt, Noah's journey has kind of this poetic parallel to the man that he's playing. It's kind of interesting. What stood out in our conversation isn't just the Hollywood arc, it's his real honesty about everything from mental health to the grind of these like really long set days, the way they shoot these drama box things. And this FX story isn't that, but this is how this dude got famous. Also really the responsibility of telling a man's story who's very much alive and around and, but with respect and with real honesty. Excited to meet and welcome Noah Fearnley, man. Thank you so much for being Up and Adam.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Adam. Appreciate it.
So we all know the Kennedy fairy tale, right? The headlines, the mythology, but you're playing the man who came right before the fairy tale, the what if, the alternative, like the alternate timeline. That's kind of, it's very layered. When you stepped into Michael Bergin's shoes, did you feel like you were playing a character, almost embodying a fork in American history, really?
Well, there's a lot of responsibility that comes with this. One, for playing, a real individual. Obviously, you want to keep, you want to uphold, show as much respect to, to them and their story as possible. Two, you're being, especially in this situation, you're being involved in, JFK Jr. and Carolyn Bessette were two icons of the 90s. They were two absolute icons. And so, it's a very, tricky situation, I think, as an actor kind of coming into something like this where there's a lot of information, a lot of perspectives, a lot of opinions, a lot of, things going around of so many different people. And so you kind of have to keep your head on straight and do as much research as possible and try to understand these characters and understand these people. And, just to have the opportunity to play Michael Bergin. Michael's very, very special to me. He's very special to me. And I learned so much about him, and I read his book, and, he came out with a book. It's called The Other Man. And I read that and I indulged in that, and it gave so much perspective and opinions. And I just loved reading that. So it was very, very informative to me.
What does it do for you emotionally to portray the man who loved someone the world remembers for loving someone else?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of opinions and perspectives on the situation, and the way I grew up, my mother and my grandmother spoke so highly of JFK Jr. and Carolyn Bessette. They talked about them all the time. They were two icons of their generation and everything. So, I've heard a lot about them, and I grew to like them very, very much. Coming into this story, it was a completely different perspective. And I hold Michael very close to my heart now. I have so much respect and love for him and so much appreciation. And I think being in my position, I just wanted to make sure that Michael's story in the best way possible was told, and that's what I tried my best to do, and hopefully that came across in the light that it needed to.
You and Michael share some eerie symmetry. Connecticut roots, modeling first, acting second. It's kind of like poetic casting here. Do you believe that the kind of parallels were coincidence, or do you think that life leaves breadcrumbs for the roles that we're meant to play?
This was actually really fascinating to me on a personal, private level, where I was just like, whoa, this is crazy. I mean, Michael and I have very, very similar stories. I mean, when I read his book, I was like, oh my gosh, we are so similar. So when I went into the filming of the role, I had to find differences. That was my thing. I had to find differences between myself and Michael. It kind of went down that road. We both started in Connecticut. We went to rival high schools, and very similar coffee shops and sandwich shops growing up and stuff like that. So it was very fascinating. Went to the modeling world. Started in New York City, and started taking the train into New York City, going into the modeling world. I did that. We knew very, very similar photographers and connections and stuff. And so funny, when it was announced that I got the role, a lot of people reached out to me and they were like, oh my goodness, I used to know Michael. I represented him, or I spoke to him, or I did photo shoots with him. And so they were doing that with me. And so it was very interesting. And even walking into rooms, people have been like, I knew Michael, back in the day. I watched him grow up, and now to see you kind of doing a very similar path, it's incredible to see that perspective. And then Michael went into the acting world, of course, and he launched in Baywatch, and that was his kind of breakout moment. And so it's just been a great journey to kind of be involved in.
When did you first realize your own story? Did this ever cross your mind like this? Like, well, my own story might be prepping me for something bigger than just my next audition.
Yeah, that's fast. That's something I haven't thought about. I've been doing this for 5 going on 6 years now. I haven't taken a day off. I haven't taken a vacation. I do this every single day, and it's something that I absolutely love to do. I love, telling stories and being involved in film, and it's something I'll do for the rest of my life. It's something that is just incredible in my eyes. Just learning about human psychology and perspective, and that stuff fascinates me.
You built your name, Noah, in these vertical micro dramas, fast, emotional, addictive storytelling, over 50 of them. And that's reps, that's grind. And now you're in a sweeping Ryan Murphy production. What did that micro drama world, one of the fastest worlds in entertainment growing, teach you about storytelling that you carried into a prestige series like Love Story?
Well, I started in the Lifetime Ion Hallmark world, and I did a couple small roles on some TV shows, and then I went into this micro drama space, which I've done like 50 movies in there, which they're full length scripts. They're still movies, and I did movie after movie after movie, and I built up so much experience and so much knowledge and all this, and a lot of hours on set, because you shoot 12, 14-hour days. And I used to do it every single day. And kind of going into this production, it was something that, it was a slow pace because, everybody wanted to take their time, make sure that the story was told correctly. And there was a lot of time and effort that went involved in it. So I kind of just buckled in and took everything for what it is and tried to live in the moment and just experience. And it just taught me so much. And being in rooms with those creative individuals, I mean, wow. Wow.
Do you feel almost like protective of that chapter, like the way the storytelling was scrappy and the way they got it all together and the long shoots like you talked about, like it almost sharpened something in you that maybe some of the more traditional sets and systems can't replicate?
I mean, it's an incubator of Hollywood, and I can tell you this: I was in that micro drama. I mean, I'm still in it. Micro drama space for about in the last 2.5 years, and the amount of hours that I have had on set in the last 2.5 years it's been. I honestly don't think that anybody has put that many hours on set in a film career, and I'll tell you why. Because the space is new. And I've done, I think, the most movies in the space out of any of the other actors. I did over 50 movies, and you do 12, 14-hour days for 7 to 10 days in a row. And because I kind of built a name for myself, I had many different things kind of coming in for new scripts, and I would just do movie after movie after movie, and you do 12, 14-hour days every single day, and you're on set, and it's just an experience that is just absolutely incredible.
Before the scripts, before the cameras, you launched 4 companies, and that's not a side hustle. That's a mindset. I mean, what did building businesses teach you about risk, rejection, resilience that acting alone never could?
Well, business is something that I'm like really fascinated with. I started, I played football in college and I got hurt. And so I, got really deep into the, I was in college, but I was in my classes trying to build a business, build a company, build stuff like that, instead of looking, focusing on A squared plus B squared. And so I really focused on that, but there was a lot of, business is something that you learn by doing. And so, I went down that road and I found acting, and it's like, it's a 180, but then also it's very similar, and you're dealing very creatively instead of an analysis while in business. But they're similar and different, and I've just learned so much over the years from both industries.
Do you ever wonder if the entrepreneur in you is still quietly directing the actor?
Oh my God, 100%. 100%. Let me tell you something, even behind the scenes, I have two businesses right now that I'm involved in, and I'm involved in a couple other businesses and companies that people have approached me, and I've kind of got involved and gotten the board, and I'm very much into business. Not a lot of people know, but behind the scenes, a lot of business. I try to continue.
Now, you've mentioned before, like your emotional upbringing really fueled your passion for storytelling, and that's not something everyone says out loud. When you're in a heavy scene, when the camera's tight, the emotions are like super real and authentic. Are you acting, or are you accessing something personal that lives very real inside you?
That's a good question. I think you start out by not necessarily accessing, in my opinion. You start out with kind of playing a scene. But when you're in a situation like that, and I'm somebody that's extremely hyper focused, I hyper focus on things to the max. And being in a scene like that, or any scene, it starts to access emotions and things from past that just bring up feelings that you didn't know you had, or you didn't know you were feeling in the moment, or it just transforms you. So
yeah, I feel like there's something sacred about portraying someone who actually lived it. Yeah, especially someone who has loved, has lost, and watched history rewrite his chapter. Did you ever feel a responsibility to protect Michael Bergin's humanity in this story?
Of course. I mean, Michael Bergin is very important to me. He's very important and special, and I hold him to a very high respect. I really indulged in Michael's life, and it was just fascinating to learn more and to learn perspectives on Carolyn, and it being in my position, I wanted to make sure that I told the story in as much of a positive, respectful way that I could. That was my responsibility as the actor, and of course a little bias on Michael. It's somebody that I indulged in his life, and I hold him, hold his story and him so positively to me, and so. It was a great journey to kind of go down, and I read his book. He came out with a book called The Other Man, where he talked about his perspectives, his opinions, all the things that kind of went down with Carolyn, and I just absolutely loved reading his book and learning about how similar we were, and I hold Michael Bergin is very close to my heart, for sure.
If when he watches your performance and sees himself in it, what do you hope he feels?
Well, what do I hope Michael feels? I hope that I hope he kind of remembers the days of growing up in that time period. When you think back to going into that modeling and actor world, into the beginning phases of it, there's so much going on that you don't necessarily take a step back and look at it and remember. But I hope he remembers those days, and I of course, him and Carolyn, life has moved on, of course, but I hope it brings positive feelings back, and I just hope he understands and sees how much respect I tried to bring to his story, and yeah, man, Michael's very special to me. He really is.
You talk about, quote, that time, and the 90s were like tabloid royalty, no social media, no self-branding, just paparazzi, public fascination. Watching that era up close through this series, do you think we're gentler with fame now, or just louder? What's your take on that?
Well, it's a very interesting concept because, I am in a profession where it is in the public light, but I'm a very private person. I like to be in my home. I like to be. I have social anxiety when I go out, and so that's kind of a different world for me because I like to be in private and by myself. But I think nowadays it's obviously changed for better or for worse with social media, and social media has expanded so many different things on what people hold as respect in their eyes of learning about different careers and stuff like that. And so fame is it's definitely different from the JFK Jr. and Carolyn era, right? Totally different. Paparazzi were all over them, and very fascinated with their lives, and so it's changed for sure.
Your theatrical debut in Mercy alongside Chris Pratt. What a leap, right? I mean, like, welcome to the big leagues kind of moment. And for anyone who's like talented like you, but as you're kind of coming in, and I talk to so many people who are just like so accomplished in their fields, and imposter syndrome always seems to creep in with the most talented of people. Was there a moment on set where you thought, oh my God, what's good? Or like, yes, I belong here, or do I? Do you ever wrestle with that internally?
I mean, it's something I speak very often about. I speak very often on social media about mental health. Mental health, anxiety, depression. It's something that I struggle with a lot. I used to hide it. I'm very open about it now. Why? Because so many people deal with mental health, and it's a huge topic, and I don't find it talked about enough because I deal with it on a daily basis. And so, there's a lot of care that needs to go into stuff like that. And so, I try to keep it, I try to bring awareness to it, and yeah, it's something that a lot of people deal with. And so imposter syndrome is a real thing, and, overthinking and your brain, and so, for somebody like me, I really have to keep my brain kind of in line, going into different characters for sure.
Yeah, I appreciate you saying that. I think you're so right to talk about and slow that stigma, but really, air things out. And I know that a lot of your fans, they must, really, really appreciate that, because it is something that a lot of us go through. So I just am incredibly appreciative of you sharing that. I want to lighten things up for a second, talk modeling, talk picture taking, right? Everyone now, we talk dating apps and profile pictures. What are some tips? How have you learned to kind of use your face, your expressions, your pointing of your body and shoulders? What are some things that we could learn, we could know from just taking pictures when you're in a group of 8 and someone whips their phone out, to someone getting, hey, these are going to be profile pictures for your dating app or even for LinkedIn? You know what I mean?
That's a great question. It's a hilarious question, but a great question. Here's the thing. The modeling world is not something that I have necessarily stayed in. I indulged in the acting world, but I did start in the modeling world, right? It was a moment in time of my life. So, see, here's the thing. I hold a different perspective of all of it. A lot of people, in my opinion, are, there's this layer of when they're taking photos of I don't know, trying to be something else. And I, when a camera is on me now, I don't do the posing thing anymore. I used to do all the posing and the cool guy thing, and I'm just over that. I don't like it. I try to show genuine expression of happy. And it doesn't matter what you look like, because here's the thing. At the end of the day, everybody is going to get older. and looks are not going to be a thing. And if you really look at it from a third party perspective, I mean, soul is where people lie. Looks mean nothing. They mean absolutely nothing. Soul and personality is the thing that I have talked about my entire life. And that's where you really have depth. Looks, yeah, they come and go. Who cares?
Noah, it's been so much fun to chat with you, my man. I've really enjoyed this. Put all the links in the show notes to everything with Love Story. And it's just been a fun career to follow. And, I now after this, nice long, I love these ones that aren't just like 5-6 minutes, but, got a chance to really like sit down and like, shoot the ish with you. It really means a lot. I can't thank you enough for being Up and Adam, Noah.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Some say life is where it begins. Straight to the stars is where it ends. Only to start again.
All right, you can watch Noah in Love Story on FX, on Hulu, wherever you get your TV. Executive produced by Ryan Murphy. Legit, baby. It's already on. It's already like a few episodes in, so check it out right now. Catch up with me. It's good. I didn't think I'm not really into like the Royals this or the Kennedys kind of thing. But this, I was like watching, I'm like, okay, next episode. All right, next episode. So I'm all caught up now. We'll have all the links in the show notes for you. And thanks to Noah for being Up and Adam, my friend. All right. The rain, like we said, looks like a little bit of a break today. Might have some clouds going back and forth with a little bit of sun here and there. But the rain I see here, if my iPhone 17 Pro is, 16 Pro, my bad. It's a 16. If it's correct, the weather app saying that we got 90% chance of rain tomorrow, and then maybe another little break, for a few days, and then back to some rain next week. So that's the way it's looking. All right, I want to thank our friends Moonshiner Collective for being Up and Adam, giving us original music on this show called Start Again. Also, Josh and Chiasa Clapper, Timbre Winery. Timbre, Timbre. And Timbre was their name-o. Check them out in the village of Arroyo Grande. Taste their world-class wines. And I thank them enthusiastically for the Timbre Low Bro Studios. Lots of good feedback from our conversation with Aaron Steed of Meathead Movers. You can actually check out that on YouTube if you want to see a video of that whole conversation. I don't normally post full interview video. I have here and there, but that one is up. So also the YouTube channel, Adam Montiel, all of the episodes of the show, it's audio, but they're all on there as well. So that's a rare kind of video one. So also you could check out my viral video that happened, what's it, like 12 years ago now? Almost 12 years ago with Ali. That's up there. So I don't do the whole YouTube thing a lot. Feels like more and more videos becoming more and more part of podcasting. So who knows? Also, I read that Apple podcasting is going to start bringing video capability into it. So if you are, as most of you are listening on Apple Podcasts, video might even be kind of a platform option there too, where when we have these interviews, posting just the video of those. I don't know. We're going to see how we'll infiltrate video into what we're doing here. Do you even care? You're listening to this, but do you want to see video? You don't need to see my big fat head, my large cranium. You don't need that. No one needs that. All right. I want to thank you so much for rating, reviewing, subscribing to the show. Haven't had a review on Apple Podcasts in a minute. So if you would take a moment, I would just absolutely love it. It would make my day. I'll give you a shout out. Go to rate it 5 stars and take a second and write a review. It would mean an absolute ton. And you mean an absolute ton. Thank you for connecting here, making us your first podcast of the day. What we're doing, there's nothing else like it locally. And it's because of you that it's taken off the way it has. So much appreciation, much appreciate, as the kids say to you. Till tomorrow, I'm Adam Montiel. Appreciate you done. Thank you for being Up and Adam.
Some say life is where it begins. Straight to the stars is where it ends. Only to start again. Let's start again. We'll start again.